This brings us to the third component of the formed elements or the blood cells which are present in the blood tissue, that is the thrombocytes. Now thrombocytes are just 0.2 to 0.5 million per cubic millimeter of the blood, so their number is quite small when compared to the RBCs. Remember, these cells are also called as the platelets. The reason behind platelet word is because they are not the cells basically, but they are pieces of cell, or you can say there are some cells which are called as megakaryocytes present in the bone marrow. Now these cells undergo fragmentation, or you can say their cytoplasm breaks off into pieces, and these pieces of this cytoplasm, that means without nucleus, the cytoplasm pieces are called as thrombocytes or the platelets. Their size is quite small, 2 to 4 micrometer, and their number I just told you is 0.2 to 0.5 million per cubic millimeter of the blood. These cells do not carry nucleus, and their function, we all know, the main function of the thrombocytes or platelets is whenever a blood vessel is injured, platelets get clumped at that particular place of infection or the injury, and this releasing some factors which are supposed to be causing clotting of the blood. So the main function of the thrombocytes is to perform clotting of the blood, because if this clot is not formed, there will be excessive loss of blood, and this can lead to the death of the individual. Remember, generally the blood platelets or thrombocytes, they survive only about a week, and there is a term which is called as spindle cells. Now spindle cell word is used for the biconvex nucleated platelet type of cells which are found in the non-mammalian vertebrates. So there are vertebrates like fishes, we have the amphibians and the reptiles also. Now in these animals you will find that the role of clotting is taken over by biconvex and nucleated cells, which are called as, so this shape looks like a spindle, and then there will be a nucleus inside. These cells are called as the spindle cells, and they are responsible for clotting in the case of these non-mammalian vertebrates. This brings us to the topic of clotting. Clotting will be coming in detail in the human physiology, which we'll be covering later on. Just remember this much, that whenever there is an injury, blood will come out from that cut portion for some minutes or for a few seconds, and then you will find that no more blood is coming out from there. So the reason is the blood clot formation or blood coagulation, and this process comes in detail later on in your syllabus. But I think in 10th class you have done this much, that the calcium ion plays an important role in this process. That's why calcium is very important in our daily diet. Apart from calcium, there are certain factors like thrombin, then we have the fibrin, then we have thrombokinase, thrombin. So all these factors play important role in the process of the clot formation. You'll be learning about in detail. There are 13 factors, basically 12, one is wrong in numbering. So there are 13, or you can say 12 factors which are involved in the clot formation, which you will be learning in sequence how do they function in the process of the clot formation. So that topic will come later. Just remember this much, that vitamin K is necessary for the formation of thrombin. Remember, thrombin is formed as a inactive form, so inactive form is called as prothrombin. We have covered that already in the last class also. So this thrombin is synthesized in liver. I told you maximum of these things are synthesized in liver. So this thrombin formation is very important for the clot formation, and this prothrombin is formed only when the diet of vitamin K is good. That's why if vitamin K is not adequate in the diet or is not properly absorbed in the intestine, then this will cause problem with the clotting. Clotting may become delayed. And then we all know about this disease called as hemophilia, which comes in your 12th class syllabus in detail. Hemophilia is also called as bleeder's disease. in this disease, if there is a small cut given to the, or by injury or accident, if there is a small cut made, even if a small cut is made into the person's body, or the person who is the victim, or who meets with an accident, a small cut will cause continuous oozing out of blood, and finally the person will die. The reason is there are some factors missing in this person. That's why clotting does not take place. We need to remember that there is another term which is called as the serum. So we have a blood plasma and we have a serum. So let's understand what is the difference between these two. Blood plasma is the fluid portion of a normal blood, but serum is the liquid which is left after clot formation. So you can say plasma minus all the proteins which are involved in clot formation. When they are used, the leftover plasma is called as the serum. You must have seen serum accumulating around your new fresh injuries. Once the injury is there, bleeding has stopped, you can see there is a circle of liquid around the injured portion. That is the serum, blood serum. Blood plasma is slightly yellow in color. Serum will be more transparent in its nature. And then the blood plasma contains corpuscles as well as the factors and proteins and all. And serum does not carry the blood cells or blood corpuscles, as well as the factors are also missing from the serum. And remember that the plasma takes part in the clot formation, and there is no role of serum in the clot formation. To be more precise, serum is formed after the clot formation has taken place. So this brings us to the closure of the topic of connective tissue, fluid connective tissue. Just remember a few lines regarding lymph which we will be learning later on. That lymph is the colorless mobile connective tissue, or you can say white connective tissue, white mobile connective tissue, and its function is like it's a middleman which helps in exchange between cells or the tissues of body and the blood. And it is rich in the WBCs. That means it has more lymphocytes, or you can say it has more leukocytes, and there is no erythrocytes and there are no platelets in the lymph. And lymph has fewer blood proteins, has less calcium, has less phosphorus, but higher concentration of the glucose in it. And the topic of lymph will again come in the human physiology.